Hey! Hi! How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. Where are you in the world?
So I'm in New Jersey. How about you?
I'm also in New Jersey.
Oh, really? Whereabouts?
Old Bridge, Central Jersey.
Oh,
I know people
nice.
argue that Central Jersey isn't
Yeah.
thing, but it definitely is.
It is. Yeah, I'm South Jersey. So I'm in like Cherry Hill area. So a little bit
Okay, I
down
know where Cherry
closer
Hill is.
to
Yeah,
Philly.
that's a pretty popular place for gymnastics, which is a lot of fun.
Really, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean it's got a lot of competitions out there, which is pretty neat. Before we even get started, I just have to say you're incredible. I admire you. I admire your work ethic. I think you're just an amazing human being from what I've seen. So I'm excited to talk to you today.
Oh, well, feelings mutual. So pleasure to meet you and chat.
Oh, thank you. So now you're a role model who empowers fans to never give up on achieving their goals. And I'm jumping right into it. You published a best-selling memoir in the fall of 2016 titled When Nobody Was Watching. So would you mind sharing a little bit about your book and what inspired you to create it?
Well, I think, there's a difference between just doing some interviews and, people getting to know you from that perspective. But then there's one thing to actually print a book that is forever. It's on the shelves and people can read it. So it was a very daunting experience at first. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. And it took about a year to go through the process of, figuring out the publishing company and then figuring out a co-author and then just digging up archival material that I've had and trying to remember things, which I'm not too great at. It really gave me a good perspective of really sharing my story, my struggles, the things that I've gone through, some family rifts that I've had, and really everything that is about my life and what I went through. So I was a little reserved at first, but I was open in my book. I was honest in my book. And I think that, people need to know that it's not all, roses. It's hard work. There's obstacles, there's struggles. And so my story is just littered with, perseverance and having to, get back up after failing. So I really wanted to give people a perspective of the fact that, it took a lot of hard work to get to the top. So I'm happy that I did it. I hope that my story can not only help soccer players, but just help people in general to, set goals and try to achieve those.
So now you are one of the winningest female soccer players ever, which is incredible. So now, when you were in college, you weren't placed on the U.S. national under-21 team. Is it true that you were told you weren't good enough and didn't work hard enough?
I was, yeah, I was your typical really talented kid growing up. I loved playing soccer. I was passionate about the sport. But I never reached a point where I had a coach who was honest with me and cut me. I kind of got away with some things, and not because I wanted to. I just wasn't told that, hey, you've got to be fit and you've got to have good character and you've got to be mentally tough. And if you get cut or, some failure comes your way, don't run away from it. Just, hit it head on, embrace it. So when this coach told me that I wasn't going to make the under 21 national team, my first thought was I'm going to just quit, because that was the easiest thing to do. And I never received that criticism before. And I was a little bit older too. I was, 20, 21. So it was a little bit harder for me to hear that at an age like that versus had I heard it later on in my life. So I went home, told my parents I was going to quit the sport, and they obviously didn't want me to quit. They knew how much I loved it. And so I spent a lot of time and money. They're like, you are not quitting. So I happened to, have a life-changing moment where I met a trainer and a mentor of mine. He was actually training my brother's team. So my dad just said, hey, can you train my daughter? She's on the brink of quitting. She needs your help. So it took me about 2 weeks to actually give him a call. His name is James Galanis. And I finally called him, and he was the next coach that was brutally honest with me and said, look, if you want to be on the women's national team, play for your country, play in Olympics, play in a World Cup, then you need to make soccer your number one priority. And you also need to, do the things that I'm asking you. He told me that I wasn't fit. He told me that my character wasn't great and I wasn't mentally tough.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think the right people are so important. They are one of the biggest stepping stones that you need to, or not even a stepping stone, a bridge to get to where you want to go. And it's like, without certain people, you're not going to get there. We're all stronger together. There's no way you can do it by yourself. So that sounds awesome. I think at 21, did hearing that feel like pressure? I mean, it sounds like it was motivating, but did it feel like a little bit of pressure, or were you just like, oh my God, you're right?
Well, when I was told from that under 21 coach, no, I mean, I was stubborn. I pointed the finger. I blamed him. I, blamed teammates. I basically made every excuse in the book, and I didn't look at myself in the mirror. And, it was always everybody else's fault. And I think that, that was sort of the frame of mindset that I had from an early age up until that point. And then obviously when I met James, several months later, and we started working together, he transformed my mind into, not pointing the finger, looking in the mirror, working hard every single day, controlling what you can control, turning your weaknesses into strengths. And so I had it within me, the passion, the will. I just needed the guidance. I needed someone to really, turn my mindset into thinking like a champion mindset. And that was the only way that, I was going to get to the top.
Wow. It also sounds like there's a lot of self-reflection in that, which I hope to the people watching are inspired to do the same, because it's not an easy thing to look at your younger self and be like, oh, well, maybe it is, but I'm not quite there yet, to look back and be like, oh yeah, I was totally stubborn. Or like, I pointed the finger, I blamed everybody else. That is such a powerful thing to admit and say. I think that's awesome. And I think just even speaking that throughout all of this is going to be very important for everybody to hear. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I think that, we're all a work in progress. No one has quite figured out life. You never will. So many people look at people like us, these heroes that everyone thinks of, and professional athletes, thinking we have it all together. And, we don't. And we probably never will, but I think it's just the addiction to want to self-improve every single day, with our sport and off the court, or off, so I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned, is that, just we're all a work in progress. Life is not perfect. And you just have to strive to be the best you can be every single day.
Okay, so now I know we're going to go ahead and wrap up in a couple minutes, but as my last kind of question, or I guess just pretty much, what advice would you give to high school or college athletes now who are missing out on training and games because of quarantine, or maybe they're just not feeling motivated at all because we're all stuck inside? Do you have advice for them?
The biggest thing that I can offer is appreciation. Appreciation for what you have, but don't necessarily need in life. There's very minimal things that we need. I think love is a big one. Happiness is a big one. Your support system and people that are there for you. And it's all about adapting to the situation. Life is not fair. Life presents so many different things and so many different obstacles for every single one of us. And this is one of them for, high schoolers missing out on graduation and sports and everything. And I think that, when you look back at this point in time, hopefully you're able to say, you know what, this was a really important time for me because I actually took the time to become better, or, practice my skills more, or realize that, I maybe don't need to be on my phone 24/7. And just, hopefully finding different things to keep you busy and keep you kind of not going a little crazy during this time.
I agree with all of that. I know my mom one time told me that change is the only consistent thing in life. And just also that gratefulness adds so much color to life. You have to have it. It just lightens everything up. So thank you so much for sharing that. This was wonderful. I'm so inspired. I want to go start flipping in my backyard now. So
I know we gotta meet up at some point. You gotta show me some of your gymnastic skills. I guarantee you I can't do a single thing, but I would love to watch.
Help. If you can help me, then I can totally help you. You know, we can cross sport it. But.
All right. We'll work it out.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. I hope
no worries. Thank you.
Stay safe. But this was so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a real pleasure.